2 points. One is that competition actually brings up the best of us. We need this test because this test, could make our children, more competitive, and they can see how the best they can go to, So I think, they say that in Stevenson, Brussels is too competitive there. No, competition brings the best of us. Because we are in New York City, we have to keep the stand for the specialized high school. That's the face of this city. We can ruin it. The second, I just want to share one of the African Americans, the parents in Stevenson. Her son says that, bring down, give the diversity of the school, make more Hispanic or Black students, African American students to go to Stevenson cannot prevent them, the Latino from the gangster, the African American children from using drugs. Yeah. So I think it's a social problem. It takes the whole family, and it's a teamwork to make our children to go to the school. So please keep the stand of the school and make the school shine, make our children shine. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm here to talk to you as a parent and as a retired teacher. A lot has been said about the test. I'll leave that for now. What I want to bring your attention to is a couple of other issues that are problems with this proposal. First, the discovery program will hurt the students it tries to help. Academic requirements, like we heard from Ethan in the specialized high schools, are very demanding. Letting in unqualified students, and discovery program students are unqualified, or they would have gotten in with the test, then these students will have a much harder time in their classes than their peers who pass the test. Put yourself in that student's shoes. It's hard enough to motivate yourself, to work hard, to keep up, but to have the self-doubt that you're not good enough and that you don't belong there in the first place. That's very damaging. Unqualified students disrupt classrooms, leading to bad experiences for all. I have taught for many years, and one of the worst situations I faced as a teacher was when a student had fallen behind and become hopelessly lost. They couldn't learn anymore unless the whole class slowed way down, a disservice to all the qualified students. It's far better to let people learn with their similarly capable peers. This is the best way for students and the teacher to have a successful learning environment where everyone can progress. Last, letting in primarily unqualified minority students encourages racism. In a specialized school now, everyone knows they deserve to be there. They all pass the test. If most of these minorities are part of the discovery program, their classmates will begin to think that those minorities are not as smart or qualified, since the ones they see at that school aren't as qualified as they were let in with lower standards. We don't want to make racists out of our next generation of students, the college admissions departments who will review their applications, or their future employers by setting up a system where underrepresented minorities are systematically less qualified than their peers. In conclusion, a fair and race-blind process avoids all these serious problems. Thank you.
I'm a Psi grad. My friends and I were mostly latchkey kids, left to our own devices while parents worked in the garment factories and the restaurants. We were expected to do well, and we did so. That's still the case today. The majority of the students that go to the specialized high schools are children of immigrants who are eligible for free lunch. It is not a bunch of privileged Asian kids stealing the opportunity from everyone else, as the mayor would have you believe. Stuyvesant was a place where everyone wanted to succeed. It was different from my junior high school. Here I found kids competing on grades rather than the logos they wore. And that's what truly made it different. There was no magic formula or ticket straight to the Ivies. The teachers were not special. The facilities definitely weren't. We just worked hard and had high expectations for ourselves. Education is the great equalizer, and every child should have the opportunity to get a good education. But let's not lower the bar for everyone. Let's make our low-performing schools better. The mayor's proposal will have, so my statistics teacher at Stuyvesant always said, you can lie with statistics. So the mayor's proposal would have students who do not pass the state test, which is the absolute lowest bar of academic achievement, attending these specialized high schools. This is not setting up those very students who want to help for success. They don't have the ability to perform at those levels. It is also taking the opportunity away from our best and brightest. We've seen what happened at Cardozo. It's no longer a high-performing school, and it's barely a state one. 3 years from now, the mayor and the chancellor will come to you and tell you what a great job they've done improving our middle schools because of the higher acceptance rate to the specialized high schools. Moving the goalposts doesn't mean you truly scored a touchdown, and meritocracy is not racism, nor should it be a dirty word. And frankly, imagine what we could do for our schools if we spent the Amazon money on our schools.
Insist on pushing this proposal that's unconstitutional and anyway, not viable and all that into on us and on the public and on our schools and onto NYC. Then we the people want to propose that we take someone whose vote is just not enough vote and below, who didn't get enough vote, just not we want to pick someone as our mayor who didn't get enough vote, but just almost got enough vote to be the mayor. And we would like to push that proposal. Together with this proposal, together with the same thing. I strongly want to express that.
Don't have a question for Board of Ed. Well, I do have. But as a mother, I'm thinking of what would I say to my child. When look at page 12 of your proposal, that you will reduce Asian American students from 50% to 30%. In the school district 26, that means at least more than 50% or 60%. So I have to go home to say to my child, I'm so sorry, son or daughter. We know that you worked so hard and you're qualified for a seat at Stuyvesant. However, you have to give up and give your seat to someone who is not qualified for this school because your parents gave you the wrong color of skin. Page 9 of your proposal, 7% cap. Many of you have talked about it. I will skip that. But look at the GPA of 94% and state exam of 4.1 versus 3.9. You are fooling the public by saying that getting an A from Harvard is the same as getting an A from QCC. Sorry, no context. And also, state exam proficiency of 4.1 versus 3.9 can easily be translated to the SAT score of a minimum of 100 to 150 points. But this is just my calculation this afternoon, so I will do a more accurate calculation. Last, because of the time, statistically, New York City, and specifically Queens, is the most culturally diverse place on this globe. The proposal is a perfect example of the most severe racial discrimination. Now, here's the real question to you. Are you turning the history back 100 years ago? At this time, it's discrimination against the Asian community. Thank you.
Okay, so my name is Fairness and Equality. Excuse me for being here with my... well, okay, 2 minutes, so I'm gonna be quick. Your beautiful slide, I'm sorry I have to say very straightforwardly, it's very basic. Okay. Number 1, go to your part 1 if you guys have that on your hand. discovery program is nothing new. It has been in there. But what they didn't tell you, the change on discovery program, okay? Discovery program has been there, and it's still kids that get into special high within that discovery program is still over 65% Asian. So that doesn't help the mayor's politician goal. So what they has been changed is they, instead of open discovery available to all kids in the city, which you didn't tell in your slides. Now you are limit discovery program only to certain place, okay? And this certain place automatically allocate more than 85% Asians and whites. That's how the magic plays immediately increase the population of Black and Spanish. Number two, I have charts here, which are also available in the DOE's website. The chart tells you this test is not a problem. If it is, then state test is also the problem. The chart tells you in a grade 3 to grade 8, over 30% to 40% gap between the white, Asian, first, Black, and Spanish. Okay? So if you say state test is the problem, then I will show you another chart, which is Success Academy. Consider over 95% Black and Spanish, and they achieve 98% in ELA and 91% in math. So, I only have 2 minutes. There's lots of things I can going on, but please go back, tell the mayor, do not put politician agenda into education. Education is not for Asian. It's not for particular ethnic group. It's for New York City. It's for this country.
Okay, last speaker.
Graduate of Saxon High School and Junior High School 189, Queens. I also spent 6th grade here in Queens, but my 5th grade year was spent in China, and I didn't even go to 4th grade. So it really only took me 1 year to get 4s on my state tests, and also score on top percentiles to get into Stuyvesant. Really, it didn't really take a lot of extraordinary work. I just studied hard, right? And I studied on my own. I didn't go to a prep school. And I also didn't just study. I volunteered at my local Beacon Center. I won my local talent show. We're not just study machines who spend a lot of money on prep class, and that's the only way you get into that. That's not true. So that's totally the wrong image that the mayor is trying to present to everyone. And also, I really feel bad for a lot of the folks that he's pushing into specialized high schools, because those schools are not very run. They're really not. Because if you're in an environment that you're not suited for, you're really setting yourself up for really bad 4 years, or maybe really bad rest of your life. Really, kids should go to schools that are really good for them. Some kids are great for art schools, some kids are great for sports schools, some kids are great at an environment that's not so hyper-competitive. Why do we have SHSATs? Because they cover material that's beyond the regular curriculum. You have to learn outside the books. You have to learn outside the schools. You have to know that that's your target and reach for it. If you don't know this test exists, then what makes you qualify for it? Really, it takes grit to survive at specialized high schools, and it really needs to make the system to fit that.
Baseline academic test. It is the fairest way to preserve the elect status of the specialized high schools in New York City. However, the mayor and DOE want to abolish the test. Their proposal tries to cover up the city's failure to provide quality education to all students. It is a destructive proposal on all counts and will do nothing to improve education for the majority majority of the students will sign up. Many of our best students for failure because of their lack of preparation.